Welcome back, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining me in the garage once again. It's blowing a hoolie outside. Now, when you talk about reform or the idea of reform, Rupert Lowe really stands out to me as an idea of what an MP really should be, what an MP should really be doing. No ifs, no buts. And he's slowly but surely getting hold of statistics for things, we shall call them, that have been hidden from public view for ever such a long time. And we need to know. We need to know all of it at the end of the day. Now, before I talk about Rupert Lowe some more, I want to point out a news article that was sent to me. You can see here, a Bombshell report has revealed that up to 585,000 illegal migrants are now living in London. So that's equivalent to about 1 in 12 of the capital's population. The staggering figures obtained by the Telegraph through environmental information laws highlight mounting concerns over the Labour government's failure to control Britain's borders and the strain it places on vital public services such as the NHS and schools. Now, you might as well call it 600,000 because at the end of the day, that's what it is, nearly 600,000. I always bang on about the Channel and all of the migrants coming over on the Channel, but of course there's other ways as well, people turning up and claiming asylum. And of course those cases have to be heard, and what happens generally, they're released into the general population. You have them coming over through the tunnel, hiding in lorries, boats. I've even ended up seeing stuff to do with boats as well. There's all sorts of ways that this happens, and we end up with a situation where our basic infrastructure is bursting at the seams. You've got places like hotels which are absolutely full of people waiting to hear their claims. And take the Channel, for example. They come over, you don't know who they are, where they've come from, what their intentions are when they get here, or anything about who they were, where they came from, where they originated. It really is a big problem. Now, I want to point out Rupert Lowe because he is aggressively going after this subject and getting to the bottom of how much money is being spent, how many people are we talking about, where are they being put up, what effect is this having on the general population of this country of ours, and the list goes on. And the amount of information that man is revealing is out of this world. I want to draw your attention to a tweet which he put out, and here it is now. I have to read you this because it's probably quite small on your screen. Our approach to illegal immigration is broken. This is important. What actually is the process for illegal migrants? Well, that's it. How are they dealt with? Pay the cash, jump on the dinghy, get picked up and welcomed into our country. Put in a hotel or some other accommodation, and then the waiting begins. We know that, but what happens after? They'll go through an interview process. I'm told by the Home Office, most interviews are now conducted remotely. They can claim to be homosexual, Christian, under 18, or whatever else to trick the authorities. Very few actual questions are asked. Very little evidence is expected, and it's almost entirely reliant on the word of the illegal migrant. Translation is provided by the taxpayer, of course. I remember a taxi knowledge test once where the guy couldn't ask any questions because he couldn't speak English. Most will be accepted as refugees. From January 2018 to 2024, September, 43,464 small boat arrivals have been granted refugee status or other leave. Just 18,849 were refused. Now, that's an important figure because when they go on about, oh, we've deported, blah, 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 does that actually keep pace with the number of people coming in? It probably doesn't. It will be more now, and the vast backlog continues. What happens then to those individuals approved? As we know, mostly young men from other cultures. They become eligible for housing assistance, benefits, NHS healthcare. They can bring their family to the UK with all of the associated costs for the British taxpayer. In the year ending September 2024, 19,154 people were granted family reunion visas. The year ending September 2023, 5,805 visas were granted. It's growing rapidly. Access is granted to the welfare system. What is this costing the British taxpayer? Well, we found out, didn't we? 726 million was spent on refugee households claiming universal credit in 2023. 726 million in 1 year. If they stayed in the country long enough, it is possible to become a British citizen with all the benefits that brings, including voting. This is madness. What are we going to do to ourselves? What message does this send to the millions and millions looking to make the country, make the journey? We're giving these men and their families benefits, healthcare, housing, schools, and more. Tens of thousands more are awaiting a decision from the Home Office. As we can see, the vast majority will be granted access to everything. It's wrong, morally wrong. The Conservative Party is to blame, and now Labour is also to blame. Both have failed to protect our border and failed to protect the British people. Anybody who comes here illegally should be deported with no questions asked. A Swiss zero tolerance policy is required. No benefits, no luxury accommodation, no welcome. Detain, deport immediately. There's no other way. Now, reading something like that, you get all of the people of a certain mindset going, "Oh, you're racist. You're a horrible man. You can't do it. You can't do that." And the list goes on, doesn't it? But when you look at things, I've had fairly recent experience with the NHS. I've got an elderly relative that was in the hospital, and to say they were moved to different wards about 4 or 5 times because everything else was bursting at the seams really showed me how much strain that organisation is under. And I could go further, and I probably will one day. Doctors' surgeries, schools, shops, road infrastructure. We can't cope with it. We literally can't cope with it. And is it going to continue? It probably is. But Rupert Lowe, to me, is an absolute legend because he points out all of this. He finds it all out and he doggedly pursues it until he gets those answers. We, the people of this country, deserve those answers. And this is the information we need when we decide who's going to govern, who's going to lead us from, the point of a general election onwards. And a lot of this usually is hidden from our view. The inconvenient truths are hidden from our view. And then we see the manifestos and everything else and make decisions based on, it's not rocket science, and it's been going on for too long. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. As always, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, have a look at these videos here. I look forward to talking to you soon. Toodaloo.